Gotta stay hydrated when we're talking about books. Am I right? I'm right. Hi guys, it's Jessica, the other half of Jessica and Cody, here with another video. This is my October wrap-up / November TBR. Now, in October, or technically September, I said that I wanted to read 9 books in October. That did not happen. Like, not even close. I only read 3 of the books I wanted to in November, and one of them, the one that I really wanted to read, the Mafia one, only came out on October 30th. So that one I kind of expected I wasn't going to read in October, but there were quite a few of these that I just wasn't able to find anywhere online or in any of the libraries near me or in any bookstores. So I'm just like, I know you're a book, I know you're real, you're just nowhere near me. So I only read 3 books, and those were the 3 books I was able to find successfully and read in October. And for the ones I just was not able to find, I'm still gonna look for them. I'm still gonna try and read them, but I'm not gonna try and read them in November just because I don't want to put that much pressure on myself. So the 3 books I was able to read, I loved and enjoyed, and I can't wait to talk about them. But I also read I read 5 books in October. So I consider that a pretty good month of October for reading books. Even though I wasn't able to find all of the books I wanted to, I was able to still have a pretty good month of reading. So, sorry for rambling. Please enjoy me talking about the books I was able to read, and I hope you won't judge me too badly for not reading 9 books in October. Please don't hate me, guys. I really, really tried. So the very first book that I did successfully read in October was What If It's Us by Adam Silvers, and I also think Becky Albertalli also wrote this book. I'm like 99% sure she did. And I didn't include her in my October predictions TBR thing, so I feel bad. So yes, they wrote it together, and this book was just as good as I thought it was going to be. It was so cute, and I need this to be a Netflix movie right now, okay? To All the Boys I Loved Before was a masterpiece, and I need that to happen for What If It's Us, because it was just so cute, and I loved it so much. I read it twice. It was just, I have so many feelings. I love the characters, and just all the meet cutes and the dates, and just, oh, I have so many feelings. Yeah, this was great. I kind of want to read it again, but I'm not. I need to put this book aside. It was fantastic, and it did remind me of Love, Simon to an extent, which makes sense because Becky Albertalli wrote Love, Simon. I've heard really good things about his other works. Emma Books has talked about his stuff a lot on YouTube, and I gotta want to read more of it. And yeah, that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna read more of his stuff in the future. Probably not in November, because I'm not gonna set myself up to fail this time, Jessica. Oh, I'm not gonna set myself up to fail. Wow, that was aggressive. Wow, I got really aggressive about not failing in November. I'm sorry. So the second book I read successfully in October is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee, which is the sequel to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, also by Mackenzie Lee. And I had very high hopes for this book, and it was just as good as I thought it was going to be. I listened to this in audiobook form because that's what I did with The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and oh my god, I don't know who they picked for this book reading, but it was amazing. And if you guys don't know, the audiobook reader for The Gentleman's Guide was the actor who played young Tom Riddle in The Chamber of Secrets. You know, the guy everybody had a crush on but didn't really admit until you got older. Or was that just me? Did anybody else do that, or was that just a me thing? Please tell me I'm not alone. So yeah, he read that book and I fell in love with it. And I just wanted to do that again with this book. And I gotta say, I don't know who they picked to do this book. I'm sorry, I'm gonna look them up right now and support them in everything they do, because they did amazing. It sucked me in again, which I like, and I just fell in love with all the characters and the plots and it was just so good, you guys. And I love that this takes place in a time period that I like a lot, mainly because Outlander got me into historical fiction, so I'm kind of obsessed with reading books that take place in time periods I don't live in or couldn't live in. I just loved listening about these people and their lives, and just in a time period that I will never experience. And it felt very, I don't want to say authentic, because I don't know how authentic it is, but it did the thing that Outlander did, where it just sucked me in, and I just, it's just historical fiction, you guys. Okay, I can't really explain it. I love it a lot, and again, it's thanks to Outlander. So it was amazing, and I hope that Mackenzie Lee does more things in this time period with these characters, because it was perfect. Again, I love it. I love it, you guys. I love it. So the third book I read successfully in October was An Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason by Virginia Bowaker. Now, this one I was really, really, really excited for, but I had some trouble finding it. I wasn't able to successfully find this book until like halfway through October, so I didn't really get to savor it as much as I did with the other two, which I were able to get earlier. And it was good. The plot itself was interesting. I knew I was going to like it because, again, it's historical fiction and it had the interesting plot point summary.com. What am I doing? What am I saying? Okay. I really enjoyed this book. The summary sold me, and when I read it, I gotta say, I really, really loved it. I didn't love it as much as Lady's Guide or What If It's Us. This was probably like a 4 out of 5 star read for me, just because I don't know, I didn't love it as much as the other two. It's not saying it's bad, because it wasn't. It was good. The characters were super interesting, and the plot was really, really good. It was a trip, and I enjoyed every second of it. So the next book I read in October is Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. And if I remember correctly, this is like the first book in a series, or it has more than one book, I think. And I listen to this in audiobook form again, because that's just my thing. I absolutely loved it. And the plot was fantastic. The characters were really, really good. But that's not why I love this audiobook so much. The reason I loved it so much was the reader did a southern accent for the entire book. Yes! It was amazing! It was so good, you guys. I loved it. She had this perfect, wow. She had this perfect Southern Belle drawl throughout this entire book, because the main character was from the South. And I really loved it. And I loved that this author put in, like, comments or details that the characters would say or do that really felt like it came from somebody that lived in the South. Now, I have no idea if this author actually lives in the South, but I 100% felt like the characters in this book lived in the South because it felt so realistic to me. And again, the accent. It was amazing. So, if you want to read this book, I highly recommend listening to it in audiobook form because the accent is just, it's perfection. It literally makes this book for me. It makes the book 1,000 times more interesting. And I'm not saying the book wasn't interesting. It was. It was really good. There's magic and fighting, and this girl has to protect this boy, and the girl that has to protect the boy is like this why do I keep saying perfect Southern Belle girl, and it's like the oddest pair you would ever think would go together, because the boy's like this kind of loner newspaper guy and they don't really like each other. It's perfect. I love it. I love it so much. I'm gonna listen to it again and hope there's a sequel, because if there is, I will listen to it in a heartbeat. But if they don't have a Southern accent in the second reading, I'm gonna be really, really disappointed, because that was the main selling point for this book for me, was the reader's Southern accent. Oh, I'm very easy to please. And the last book I read in October was Warcross by Marie Lu. So, gosh, a while back I bought this book from Barnes & Noble, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read it. And then didn't really talk about it again. I'll read it in October. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing that? Stop it, Jessica. I am so glad I read this book. It was so good, and the characters were fantastic. I read this book at home, but I listened to it in audiobook form at work. So I got kind of two different forms of this book. I can't think of the word. I'm just gonna say form. So I got the paper version at home, and I got the read to me version at work. And I really liked that I did that, because it kind of made the book more special to me. It made this book feel more special to me. The characters were amazing. I absolutely loved the way this book was written, and the Warcross game sounded so cool. It really kind of reminded me of Ready Player One. Not exactly, because they're like different and they're not the same game at all, but it felt really similar to Ready Player One in a sense, but they're two completely different books. Like, other than the game feature, they're really not all that similar. But I kind of went in there, and then when I read about how the people played the game, I'm like, oh yeah, Ready Player One. Then after that, I was like, this is not Ready Player One. I'm intrigued. And it was so good, you guys. So I know there is a sequel to Warcross out. I don't remember the name. My bad. I'm sorry. But I am very excited to read it. I am probably not going to read it in November, because I really want to keep November kind of short, TBR wise, because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself and feel disappointed if I don't read all the books. I still feel bad that I wasn't able to read as many books as I wanted to. So, for November, I am only reading 4 books, or I'm only challenging myself to try and read 4 books in November. 2 of them I already have, thanks to Alcrate and Fairy Loot, and I've already described the book from Alcrate in my video, and I've already described the Fairy Loot book as well. That video may or may not be out already. If it is, I'll link it down below or up there, wherever it is. And those 2 books are Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I'm so sorry. And the second book is The Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha. I'm sorry. Nigan? I'm sorry. I don't want to say your name wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I'm saying everybody's names wrong. But these two books I really, really, really love the summaries of, and I really want to read them in November. So I am very, very excited to read these. I'm probably going to read these in physical form because I have them, and they just sound so good, and I want to read them right now. So the third book I am reading in November is actually an ARC. It's the first ever ARC I've ever gotten, and I'm so excited to read it. It's called In the Company of Death, and it's by Eliza Hansen. And this book is written by a pretty popular YouTuber, and I love her to death. You may know her as Maven of the Eventide. She does fantastic reviews of books and movies and TV shows related to vampires. She also has a Vampire of the Masquerade playthrough, like the really old, like early 2000s video game. And she also did some stuff with like D&D, talking about like the vampires in D&D. So she does literally everything. Books, movies, TV shows, but the one main thing tying everything together is it's all about vampires. And she wrote a book, and I am so happy I got an ARC of it. So I'm going to be reading this book in November and then making a video reviewing it, telling you my thoughts and feelings about the book. I am very excited to read this. I have no doubt it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, so this is an ARC. I'm going to be reading a ebook copy that I got from her and her publisher, and I'm so excited. I have been wanting to read this book for so long, ever since she announced she was writing it, and I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. So yeah, this one I'm for sure reading. I'm not going to slack off on this one. So the fourth book I'm reading in November is In Another Time by Carolyn Leach. I wanted to say Carolina for some reason. It's Carolyn. And this is another historical fiction book. And this book takes place in 1942 in World War II, and is about Maisie McCall as she works in the Scottish Highlands doing her part for the war effort. And she has a friend called John, and an accident happens, and she kind of learns about his past and some pain he's kind of been holding on to, and they become closer. And it's a romance story, so you can kind of tell where this is going. I am already going to assume they're going to end up together by the end of the book, or I don't know. I really hope nobody dies. I'm going to be really sad if somebody dies, because I hope it's not Maisie, because Maisie's adorable. I'm only 2 or 3 chapters into this book, and so far I absolutely love it. I love Maisie, and I love her like spunkiness, and she's so cute. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to describe her, but she's just adorable and cute, and I want to hug her and protect her and give her all the love, because she deserves so much love. But so far this book is really, really good. I have actually been on the waiting list for this book in my library for a while. I went on the waiting list in early September, and I just now got my book. So this book is crazy popular, and I don't know why, because again, I've only read 3 chapters, but by the end of it, hopefully I'm gonna see why it's so popular, because wow, I've waited a long time for this puppy, and I have nothing but high hopes for it. So yeah, those are the 4 books I'm going to be reading in November. I am not going to try and read as many books as I have been wanting to in November. If I read more, that's great. But from now on, I think I'm going to try and just limit myself to 4 or 5 books, because then if I read them, I'm like, yay, I did it. And if I read more, I'm like, yay, I read more. But if I don't read as many books as I wanted to, then I'm like, okay, that's a little sad, but it's not like I didn't read 9 books. I feel really bad. I feel really bad. I'm sorry. I tried my best. So these are the 4 books that I want to read in November, and I am very excited to read them all and finish the ones that I've already started, and I just, so good, you guys. So that is my October wrap-up / November TBR. Sorry if this is kind of all over the place. I'm a little hot mess right now. I'm working on figuring out how I want to do these wrap-up / TBRs. I'm working on trying to figure out how much information I give on books I've read / books I want to read. So this is kind of a trial video, and if I like it this way, I'll do it again, and if I don't, I'll try and mix it up again. So please bear with me. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to make these videos. I feel like I'm getting better with each video, but you know, I'm trying to figure out how to do my thing, and I'll get there eventually. So please stick with me if you want to. It would really make my heart happy if you stuck with me as I'm trying to figure out how to do this. If you enjoyed this video, please give this a thumbs up and comment down below. I have all of my social media down there if you want to give that a look. And as always, please subscribe. It really helps me out. And I will see you guys here soon with a new video. Bye! So if you love Simon, please check this out because it was so good, and I definitely want to read more of Adam Silvera's work because this was just so good, and I've heard amazing things about the things of okay. Oh boy. The second book that I did successfully read was The Lady's Guide. Mouth's not working today. The second book I read in October is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. So this was the sequel to The Gentleman's Guide to... Oh wow, I forgot. Wow. I forgot the last half of that title. The Gentleman's Guide to something. Vice and Virtue! I'm a horrible booktuber. This is the sequel to... Oh my god, this is going